The fight starts and Islam gets a takedown early, controls Ian for the rest of the round. But there was a difference. He was never able to flatten Ian out. He was never able to truly gain control. What he was able to do was take the back and ride him almost like a collegiate wrestler for the entirety of the first round. But he wasn't able to get him to go to his back. He wasn't able to secure dominant position. You could tell it was going to take a lot of energy for Islam to keep Ian Garry down. I have to start by telling you guys.
Into it, the big one. Islam Makhachev defending the belt against Ian Machado Garry. Now, what was Ian Machado Garry doing? That's the real question. And you might even say, what was he doing all week leading up to it? A lot of people talk shit about Ian Garry. He's a nice guy. He is a nice guy. But a lot of what he just says comes off a little bit weird, like at the press conference. They ask Islam about Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov, Habib's father, Islam's longtime coach. And Ian Garry jumps in to try and answer for him to say that, you know, Abdulmanap would be proud.
Makhachev won the fight 3-2. I'm telling you, Makhachev won the fight 3-2. I don't care. Boring as you held him against the cage. You did 0 damage to Ian Garry outside of a fluke head kick in round 2. Call it what it is. And he'll beat Prates because Prates can't scramble like that. Everybody saying cope in the chat, bro, it's MMA. I don't give a do damage to someone. It's a fight. You landed a head kick with toes in round 2, and for 24 other minutes of an MMA fight, you did 0 damage to Ian Garry.
Islam Makhachev has officially made UFC history. After 5 extremely competitive rounds against Ian Machado Garry at UFC 330, Makhachev walked away with a unanimous decision victory, with the judges scoring the fight 49-46, 49-46, and 48-47. But those scorecards don't tell the entire story.
And he did, but Ian did such a good job of wrestling defensively and then getting to the cage, getting up, and then from there he wasn't able to break away. Every time pretty much Islam was able to get Ian to the cage, he wasn't able to break away, but he did a good job not letting Islam reshoot or retake him down. And that round 1 was pretty much just Islam controlling him damn near the entire round. Then you go to the round 2, Islam does take him down, but Ian gets back up and then he eats a left freaking cleat to the chin. I literally said there's no way Islam head kicks Ian. I said it.
Fight also told a number of different tales. What is your general sort of takeaway now that you've had a chance to think about how this fight played out?
Well, I mean, first of all, I think Ian Garry was very well prepared. You know, I think the time he'd spent working on his takedown defense and on his escape, getting himself out to the side, you know, DC explained it very well. But, you know, the winning of the shoulder battle to get himself to the side of Makhachev, that's where you get the weight off the leg that Makhachev's trying to keep a hold of.
Ian Garry gave Islam one of the most difficult fights we've seen from the champion in years. Garry's size, movement, distance management, and striking created serious problems, and as the fight progressed, he showed that he wasn't simply going to collapse under Islam's pressure. Islam still found the moments he needed.
Oh, those are hard. Those are busting up. You hit him. Wow! He did a feint in between. I like the head feints. He's using them so well. Nah, yeah, keep doing those, because that way you just rack up points. Pop, pop. Fuck. No way.
Islam is the first fighter in UFC history to win 17 consecutive UFC fights. This breaks Anderson's record, which stood for basically 13 years. And of course, now he's got title defenses in 2 weight classes. And according to UFC stats heading into the final round, significant strikes landed were dead even at 22 each, but Makhachev had nearly 10 minutes of control, 5 takedowns, and a knockdown to go with it. There's a lot to say about this one in terms of its significance.
He managed to close the distance, impose his wrestling, and control Garry for important stretches of the fight. He even dropped Garry with a head kick in the second round, once again showing that Islam is dangerous not only when the fight hits the ground. Even when Islam was challenged, he continued to find ways to win.
5th round, it's tied 2-2 in my opinion. I know 2 of the judges gave it 4-1 Islam. But to me, it was 2 rounds to 1. Ian Garry, he's like smelling the roses too much while he's in the moment, dude. Live in the moment, fight the fight, smell the roses after you win. He's taking it in a little too much. I know you should still do that, but he's taking it in a little too much when it comes to the moment. You gotta be, this is the GOAT right here. He's trying to get you, bro. You gotta get him. He just head kicked you in round 2. That's supposed to be your shit. You're supposed to be the striker.
This was an interesting fight. Islam looking really strong out the first 2 rounds. You know, getting Garry on his, you know, against the fence. He had the head kick, obviously, which changed things in the fight. I thought when he landed the head kick, he was gonna go for blood and get the finish there, but that doesn't end up happening. Listen, credit to Garry for surviving. I thought there were points in this fight where Islam did look look like he was going to potentially either win by submission or, get the finish in this fight.
It was a tremendous main event, but ultimately Makhachev remained the champion. He did what he had to do and was tested in ways we haven't seen before. Although he won by a healthy margin, there were moments where the control and dominance we're used to seeing from Islam simply wasn't there, especially against the bigger welterweights.
Look, man, no, Ian did not win that fight. Look, I thought it was a close fight. I thought it was 2-2 going into the fifth. Someone takes your back. That is a finishing position. No damage was really done before that. The takedown, the transition to the back, all of that, huge stuff. So that control, that rounds, but look, that's a tough fight for Islam. Is like I said this before.
The upset felt like the upset could happen tonight with so much on the line, all the records that Islam has, and he's going to break Anderson Silva's record. There's weight classes for a reason. Ian Garry is a big, rangy, strong guy who has great takedown defense. I mean, if you look at his takedown defense tonight against Islam.
Now that he has moved up to 170 pounds, the question is what happens when he faces even bigger and more powerful opponents. Fighters like Morales and Carlos Prates bring serious size and knockout power. Ian Garry is a strategic and tactical striker, but he doesn't possess the same kind of one-shot nuclear power as some of the other welterweights. One of the biggest differences at welterweight was Islam's ability to establish dominant control positions.
In the main event, Islam Makhachev figures out a way to get it done against Ian Garry in a fight that kind of people predicted, but not really. So before we get into round by round and how it all worked out, give me your overall assessment of what we just witnessed. Was it something that you expected to happen today?
Yes, both, and not to puff my chest out here, but both the main and co-main event I read perfectly. I think this is exactly what I had in mind, and I put that out on my staff picks or MMA Junkie, and that's how it went down. I knew this was going to be somewhat of a close fight. It wasn't going to be an easy fight for Makhachev, but in the end,
when he finally secured that control in the fifth round, he was able to keep Garry there like we're accustomed to seeing, but Gary's preparation made it extremely difficult for him. Gary's takedown defense, size, and strength allowed him to survive positions that many opponents have struggled with. At the same time, Islam was fighting with a lot on the line. He was attempting to break another historic record while defending his second UFC title, and the pressure surrounding the fight was enormous. Despite that pressure, Islam once again found a way to win. The MMA world had a lot to say after Makhachev's victory over Ian Machado Garry. Despite Islam making history, this wasn't the dominant performance many expected. The biggest takeaway from fighters and analysts was simple: Islam finally looked human. For years, we've watched Makhachev completely dismantle some of the best fighters in the world. Opponents usually struggle to stop his takedowns, escape his control, and force him into a fight they don't want. Ian Garry changed that conversation. His size and distance management created legitimate problems for the champion, and there were moments where Islam couldn't impose his game as easily as we're used to seeing. That immediately created debate throughout the MMA community. Was Islam simply facing an extremely difficult stylistic matchup? Has moving permanently to welterweight made his fights more difficult? Or did Ian Garry expose weaknesses that future challengers can now try to exploit? Some analysts believe the fight was set up for a potential upset because of everything that was on the line. Ian Garry is a big, rangy, strong fighter with excellent takedown defense, and he showed that against Islam. He had opportunities, especially in the fifth round, when Islam appeared tired and Garry still had energy. If Garry had attacked with more urgency and looked for a finish instead of allowing Islam to control the final moments, the fight could have looked very different. From Islam's side, however, he did exactly what he needed to do. Against a bigger, stronger, rangy opponent with strong takedown defense, he remained composed, controlled the fight when he needed to, and secured the victory. Islam showed once again why he's one of the most complete fighters in the UFC. Even though the fight wasn't the dominant performance fans have become accustomed to seeing, he still found a way to overcome a difficult challenge at a new weight class. Dana White also had strong opinions after watching Islam Makhachev defeat Ian Machado Garry at UFC 330. Despite Islam walking away with another historic victory, Dana admitted that he genuinely believed the fight was set up for a potential upset. According to White, Gary's size, reach, strength, and especially his takedown defense gave Islam serious problems. He was impressed by how well Garry was able to stop many of Islam's attempts and believed Ian had opportunities to take control of the fight. However, Dana White's biggest criticism was Gary's mentality in the fifth round. White felt Ian was simply too respectful toward Islam. He wasn't happy seeing Garry hug and shake hands with the champion before the final round when the fight was still there to be won. Dana believed Garry needed more of a killer instinct. Instead of showing respect in that final round, White felt Ian should have come out aggressively and tried something dramatic to finish the champion. That's why Dana believes this could become one of those fights Garry watches back and wishes wishes he could do over again. Still, White gave Garry plenty of credit for competing with a fighter many people are already beginning to discuss in the GOAT conversation. Islam ultimately proved why he's the champion, but in Dana White's eyes, Ian Garry may have allowed a massive opportunity to slip through his hands. Gary's respectful attitude showed class, but once the bell rings, fighters have to switch that mentality off and focus completely on winning. With Islam Makhachev once again proving why he's one of the most dominant fighters in the world, the big question now is what's next for both men. Did Ian Garry show enough to eventually earn another shot at Islam? Or is there someone else in the welterweight division who can finally end Makhachev's incredible run? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more MMA news, fight updates, reactions, and UFC content.